Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on Canelo versus Crawford? Crawford is someone you've interviewed, someone who's, I'm assuming in your top 5 pound for pound.
Yeah, for sure.
Canelo at one point was in your top 5. I don't know if he still is, but there's this fight is different weights. I don't know what's to think. Well, what's your opinion on it?
I think Terence Crawford's gonna beat him.
Wow.
Terence Crawford's gonna beat him, man. And I'm not saying that because I also interviewed Canelo too. Right? I interviewed Canelo also. I'm just looking at it like first of all, I've been a Canelo fan for a long time.
Yeah, Canelo nice. Say whatever. He gets hate and some of his last few opponent choices I haven't liked, but Canelo nice. Let's not take that from him.
He's still nice. And I just watched his career, from damn near the beginning, man. At least the beginning of him coming to America, right? Mm-hmm. And the times that I've seen Canelo have trouble are against guys that can do what Terence Crawford is able to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like if we're talking about Erislandy Lara, who very close fight. Some people arguably say he won that fight. Yeah. Being able to circle, use your jab, use your feet. I think using your feet is the biggest thing against Canelo because I don't think his footwork isn't really that good from a lateral movement standpoint. I think if he's standing in the pocket close range, like he'll make little moves with his feet that are cool in terms of getting on the outside. But I think when you don't allow him to set his feet, it's a harder fight for him, right? And I saw people do that in spots against him, right? Like I said, Erislandy Lara, Danny Jacobs, of course, Bivol. And I think Terence Crawford still has enough, even at his old age, to do that and use lateral movement. I've seen him do that. But also standing next to both of these guys, right? Like I said, as I interview both guys, obviously Canelo's the bigger guy at a weight, but it's like Terence Crawford's taller than him. He's longer than him. He's very strong. We all know like Terence Crawford's a strong guy. So I just think that from an IQ standpoint, I just think that matchup, it's just a styles make fights thing. I don't think it's necessarily about who's better per se, but I think the Crawford style is going to give Canelo trouble just in terms of, like I said, I think he's going to move. I think his jab is a really good jab that's going to be able to keep Canelo at bay. And then the times that Canelo does come in, I think Crawford's a sharp enough counter puncher that I don't think Canelo's just going to be able to walk in without any form of respect.
Well, I mean, listen, Canelo's chin is all time. So I think he can take punches from this guy who has one fight at 154. And I just think what Bud's able to do as far as hurt his opponents, regardless of Canelo's chin, he's also moving up in weight. So you find an iron chin guy who is way bigger than you, according to the weight. I understand the height, but everybody's taller than Canelo. Canelo has fought tall fighters his whole career. I can't see Crawford winning unless he makes this a boring fight, running, boxing, moving, and really not getting touched, because Canelo can punch, and he's slowing down, but he's not all the way slowed down. I'm picking Canelo.
That's not bad. Listen, I'm not mad at that. I think my other retort to it is that if this was Canelo 3-4 years ago, I think this is a different fight. I think now Canelo is slowed enough. His enough, be clear, is still better than 90% of boxers, right?
Yeah.
But I think Crawford is in that elite level to where he's slowed down enough that, especially in the later rounds, Canelo's gas tank to me starts to fade.
That is something
and I think that's the part that I'm seeing is like, yes, in the beginning rounds he starts slow. The mid rounds is where he's absolutely dangerous. Like 3 to 8, 3 to 9 is where Canelo is just a dangerous fighter. But then once you start to get to 10, 11, 12, Canelo has shown me in multiple fights lately that he slows down in his gas tank, man. So obviously Crawford's he should be the underdog. he better be the underdog.
Yeah.
But I think that from a stylistic standpoint, I think he beats him. And I said this about Bivol also. I won a lot of money actually on DraftKings.
Okay.
I knew Bivol was also going to beat him based on the style. So I'm saying it again.
All right. Hey, man, shout out to DraftKings. Maybe you can make some money again.
Need a sponsor, DraftKings. Holla at me, man.
Yeah, holla at me too, man. Holla at me too. You need the Latino market.
That's a fact.
But that's so interesting. Listen, I don't want to totally dismiss Crawford's chance because I respect his boxing IQ. I think these are two of the fighters with the highest boxing IQ in boxing. Like, really, really smart guys. I think they're both elite at what they do.
Yep.
if they were the same weight, I would pick Crawford. I just think, man, one fight at 54 and then your next fight is at 68. It's like, oh no, like I know, it's just, I want to pick Crawford because I know if this was an even weight fight, I would pick Crawford. I just, that jump is too much for me. But what does a win mean to Crawford? What does a win over Canelo Alvarez become the first three-time undisputed champion in this 4-belt era? What would that mean?
Top 5 all time.
Top 5 all time?
All time, man. All time. I think, again, it's like what we're saying. I mean, the only thing I can kind of liken it to is Sugar Ray Leonard going up to beat Marvin Hagler at 160 after the eye injury, right? So, like, that was crazy because, remember, he took some time off.
Yeah.
Right? So, but, like, for a guy that, and people discredit his resume. I don't think he has the best resume, no. To no fault of his own, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way the cards went.
Yeah.
But for a guy to clean out 40, right? Did what he did. He beat Ricky Burns at 35, which Ricky Burns was decent. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
But whatever.
In
Ricky
his home
Burns
country, too.
Away. So beat Ricky Burns, cleaned out 40. At the time, remember, like, people be sleeping on people look at things in hindsight as opposed to the context at the time. But, like, when he beat Victor Postol, like, that was a legit win. Really good win, right? This the guy that just whooped Matisse, and Matisse was coming off being the boogeyman, right? He did Lamont Peterson dirty, like Matisse at the time, and he did what he did. Like Victor Postol at that time was one of them guys.
And he was a champion too.
And he was a champion, so he did that, undisputed then. But then his run at 47, dog, is like everyone at 47 that fought got stopped. That's kind of crazy to think. Like, I didn't just win.
It wasn't the best opponents, to be fair, but hey.
You don't think so? I think it's pretty good, though, man.
I mean, no disrespect. I don't want to make this not you. I'm saying to Bud. I don't want to make this like, oh, I'm hating on Bud, but Amir Khan and kind of glass chin guy, and that was kind of like a weird knockout how that happened. Okay. Kell Brook kind of beat up already.
See, I don't like that. I don't know if I like that one, man.
Listen, the guy got his face broken in twice, literally.
Twice by Errol.
One by
Triple G, obviously was
Triple
the initial.
G, and then in the next fight, he got both cheekbones broken in back-to-back fights. After that, you're not going to tell me that's the same fighter.
I just don't, because when Errol fought him, I don't think anyone said that really, and Triple G already broke his eye socket.
I didn't give him full credit for that either.
Okay.
I didn't give him full credit, but I do think it's he fought him after one eye socket broken. Now this guy's fighting him after two. So I kind of look at that one like that. I just think regardless of what the resume is, it's all 100% knockout ratio. Plus Errol Spence, who a former Olympian, had 3 of the belts, beat Sean Porter, beat Danny Garcia, never got the Thurman fight, whatever, he didn't want it. That's a long story, but he was clearly the best guy on that side of the street. He went and he knocked him out in dominant fashion. So I still give him his credit for his reign at 147 because he clearly was the best guy.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't think, like, since you brought it to that all-time great level, top 5, I think if we put his resume next to Duran and Leonard and Ali and Mayweather and Pacquiao, I just don't think he quite stacks up to that. Like, if you put his list of wins and their list of wins, it just doesn't match.
I would agree to that, but I would agree. If we're talking about the names, then I would agree to that. But I also think if we're talking about the accomplishments, right, like to go up, to do that and be undisputed and he's already 2-time undisputed. To do it 3 times and wild. At 168, like you went from 47.
And you beating Canelo,
dog. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's like, to me. That's
I see what you're saying.
Crazy.
You're saying that singular win with context that he wiped out 2 divisions brings it up to that level.
I think so. To beat Canelo at 68, that's like.
Well, to bring that into context, I know it's different eras. When it was the 1-belt era, Henry Armstrong was champion at 126, moves up to welterweight, became champion at welterweight, then moved back down to lightweight and beat the guy at lightweight. So he was a 3, again, undisputed. Since it was one belt, it was undisputed. He was simultaneously undisputed champion in 3 weight classes. So, like, there's guys like what he's doing. There's guys that did that too in terms of. That's why top 5 is hard for me. It's hard for me to squeeze him in there.
It's just the jumping because really, like, he just moved up to 54, right? Majimov, which was a tough opponent, good opponent,
good fighter,
but like,
good fighter.
I still look at him kind of like a 47-pound guy, right? So just to go up to 6, to skip 3 weight classes,
that is a great win.
That's insane.
That would be. Hey, listen, I'm not necessarily rooting for either one. Yeah. I'm picking Canelo, but I'll give credit to Bud if he could pull this off for sure, man. That's that would be a quality win on his resume, one that nobody can take from him. Like, yeah, Canelo's dipping a little bit, but I don't think the dip is enough where you can say you beat an old Canelo. And even if
agree.
Even if it's a dip that you do consider an old Canelo, the weight difference cancels that out. It cancels that out.
I agree.
It's Canelo in his mid-30s. Yes, maybe a little older, but still the undisputed champion currently.
Absolutely. And we're going to see, to be honest, we're going to really get a gauge of where he's at. People sleeping on William Scull, man. I know people don't just necessarily know the name. I watched this guy's fight. He ain't just like he ain't just a walkthrough. Yeah, okay. It ain't just that. It's not just that. So I think this fight is going to be a lot more. And I said this about the Gervonta Davis fight. People said, "Oh, you're hating on Tank or you're glazing Lamont Roach and whatever." I said, yo, that fight, this ain't going to just be like that. And I kind of feel like the same way with William Scull. Not to say I think he could beat Canelo, but I think that
it ain't no walkthrough.
Yeah. And his style is one in which is like, again, that I could see it trying to, Canelo having to figure it out as opposed to I could just come there and do what I do like Jaime Munguia.
I got you.